Hello, welcome to English Day with Miri. Today we are going to learn about adjectives. What is an adjective? It is a word that describes or modifies nouns or pronouns in a sentence. It commonly indicates quality, size, shape, duration, feelings, and more about a noun or pronoun. Now, there are some questions we commonly ask to provide or determine essential information about the nouns or pronouns being described. These questions are what kind, how many, which one, and how much. Now, let's have some examples with adjectives. She bought 10 donuts. How many donuts did she buy? The answer is 10. The woman is wearing a floral patterned dress. What kind of dress is the woman wearing? The answer is a floral patterned dress. And lastly, we have her mother is beautiful and kind. What kind of mother is she? The answer is beautiful and kind. Now let's move on to the types of adjectives. We have 8 types of adjectives. And the first one is descriptive adjectives. This is one of the most common among all the types. This adjective gives more information about the nouns or pronouns. Let's have some examples. The gigantic snowman we made is in the backyard. In this sentence, our noun snowman is the one being described and our adjective is gigantic. Next, we have I bought a pink dress. In here, our noun is the dress. And that one is being described using a color. So the color pink is our adjective. And lastly, we have Kelso. Kelso bought a massive sculpture from Egypt. The sculpture is being described as massive or very big. Now let's move on to the next type of adjective. Our second type is quantitative adjective. In here, we are literally referring to the number. Let's have some examples. They delivered 10 boxes of toys. So how many boxes of toys did they deliver? The answer is 10. Next, we have he bought 2 bouquets of flowers. How many bouquets of flowers did she buy? The answer is 2. And lastly, we have Margo washed 2 pairs of shoes. So how many pairs of shoes did Margo wash? The answer is 2. Now let's move on to the third type. Our third type is what we call the proper adjectives. Proper adjectives are a form of proper nouns. And since they are a form of proper nouns, they also begin with a capital letter. Now let's have some examples. I like Indian cuisine. So what kind of cuisine do you like? The answer is Indian. Next, I took a lot of examinations that were based on Shakespearean poetry. So the tests were based on what again? The answer is Shakespearean poetry. Now let's move on to the fourth type. Our fourth type is the demonstrative adjectives. Demonstrative adjectives directly refer to something or someone. We use this, that, these, and those. Let's have some examples. This book is my favorite. Those dresses are beautiful. That sculpture is an awesome creation. These huge clams were sent by my father. Now, if you noticed, these, that, these, and those. These demonstrative adjectives are very similar to our demonstrative pronouns. But they are not totally the same. Because demonstrative adjectives cannot stand alone, therefore they need nouns next to them. While demonstrative pronouns, they can stand alone. They don't need a noun next to them. Now let's move on to the next one, which is the possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives show ownership. And these possessive adjectives are my, his, her, our, its, your, and their. Now let's have some examples. Our closet is old. He injured his arm. We left our bags at home. She misses her mother so much. So just like demonstrative adjectives, possessive pronouns are different from possessive adjectives. Possessive pronouns replace the noun in the sentence, while possessive adjectives don't. Now let's have an example for the possessive pronoun. The bag you see on the table is mine. And now let's have an example for the possessive adjective. The one you see on the table is my bag. Now let's move on to number 6, which is the interrogative adjective. Interrogative adjectives are used to ask questions. These interrogative adjectives are what, which, and whose. So let's have some examples. Whose books are those? Which suit should I wear for the party tonight? What kind of food are you craving for right now? Please take note that interrogative adjectives will not be considered as interrogative adjectives if not followed by a noun. While for interrogative pronouns, they don't necessarily need a noun next to them. Now let's move on to the next type, indefinite adjectives. Indefinite adjectives are used to discuss non-specific things. The most common indefinite adjectives are several, many, few, no, and any. Let's have some examples. Some people don't believe in superstitious beliefs. Many people go to shrines every New Year's Eve. Several students attended the meeting. Now, the same with the rest. Indefinite adjectives cannot stand alone, while indefinite pronouns can. And now let's move on to our last type, which is the articles. Articles are used to determine whether something is specific or not. We have two types of articles. We have the definite article, the. It defines something specific, something that has been mentioned before. Let's have an example. She has the pen you are looking for. In this example, the subject is talking to someone who knows about the pen. It is not their first time to mention the pen. Next, we have the indefinite articles. It's the exact opposite of the definite article. Indefinite articles are a and an. They refer to something general or more generic. For example, an umbrella was left at the lobby. It is the subject's first time to mention about the umbrella. So we don't know which umbrella she's talking about. She's just talking about a random umbrella she saw in the lobby. Next, we have a car was seen parking in our garage. The same with the previous example. It is the subject's first time to talk about that car. It also conveys the meaning that the car they saw parking in their garage isn't theirs. Now, please remember that we use articles a and an before singular nouns. Now, let's test ourselves. Let's have a short exercise. Let's tell whether the highlighted words are descriptive, quantitative, proper, interrogative, possessive, indefinite, and article. Now let's have the first one. The woman gave 3 apples to her grandmother. Our highlighted word is 3. The adjective 3 is an example of a quantitative adjective. Now let's move on to the second one. There are some trees left in the garden. The highlighted word is some. The word some is an example of an indefinite adjective. Now let's move on to the third sentence. The man looks happy. The highlighted word is happy. The word happy is an example of a descriptive adjective. And number 4, we have she learned how to cook Italian dishes when she was living in Italy. The word is Italian. The word Italian in this sentence is an example of a proper adjective. And lastly, we have whose cell phone is this? The highlighted word whose is an example of an interrogative adjective. Thank you for watching this video. Please make sure to like and don't forget to subscribe.